Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 18 of the Vegan Weight Watchers Challenge. My husband's taking the cart back and he's being very silly. So we are out doing some grocery shopping real quick this morning. There's a few things that we needed for the next 2 weeks, and it's that time of the month for us to go do our faraway grocery shopping. And so yeah, both my husband and I were super hungry this morning and neither of us had a chance to eat. So that was kind of a bummer. So we're both still like super hungry. So when we get home, we're definitely going to be doing something about that. But for right now, we are out doing our shopping, and I might get a Diet Pepsi while we're out to, I mean, it's not going to help me be less hungry, but it will taste wonderful. So that's it for me for right now. We're going to toodle on. We need to go to Target and to Whole Foods still, and then we will head home. And so I will see you guys later for some food. Alrighty guys, so I have just all sorts going on. So we have a ton of leftovers in the refrigerator still, so I'm actually we're going to have leftovers for supper again. My daughter and son-in-law are at his family's house tonight, so I don't have to worry about feeding them. Stupid hair just wants to... Anyways. And my other daughter who's home from college is with my mom for the evening, so I'm not going to have to feed her, but we have a ton of leftovers. So I wanted to do something a little bit, spice them up just a little bit, just make something a little bit different, and so I'm going to make something that the boys really like to go with the leftovers. So for lunch, I had, let's see, 9 points. We had leftovers, so I had the veggie tray, so I had a bunch of vegetables off the veggie tray, and I had 2 tablespoons of guacamole, which is 2 points. I calculated that, it's the Holy Guacamole brand. And then I had some of the leftover, actually, I had half of that row. My daughter had the other half, so that was only 3.5. So I had 5.5. So I've had 6 points today. The tofu and cabbage bake that I made the other day, I had a row of that left. So she ate half of that, I ate half of that. So well, it was nice for her to take some of my points from me. That's awesome. So anyways, and then we sat and munched on the vegetable tray that was in front of us, and it was delicious and wonderful. So yeah, so I've had about 6 points so far today. I am going to make, so we're gonna probably just do soups again tonight. So the boys will have their cabbage and bean soup. It's like a creamy soup, and I will probably have the, I'll have the stuffed pepper soup. So one thing that the boys really like is when I make something, I'm cheating because I'm using a box on this one for sure, guys, but it's like a scone. And so I'm using this muffin and scone mix. It doesn't have that many ingredients in it, but it's got like brown rice and sugar and tapioca starch, arrowroot powder, a few other things. So my boys don't tend to react to this, and granted they don't eat much of it anyway, so maybe they wouldn't react. Maybe they would react if they ate the whole box. I don't know, but they don't, so that's good. So what you do, you make it differently than you would like the cake mix. So I'm going to get some ingredients put together. So I'm going to make them a scone, but I'm going to do it the same thing for myself. We have a baggie of it in the closet that I just take smaller amounts out. If I mixed this and I added too much liquid to it, I might actually add a little bit of that left, because make it back into its form. So I'm going to measure that out, and it says 38 grams is a serving. So I'm going to measure out 38 grams, and then I'm going to mix in Diet 7-Up with it. And I'm just going to mix it until it is a nice consistency where it's not runny at all. And see what that does. I've never tried that before, but I know that you can make like cake mixes with like soda, like a Diet Coke with a chocolate cake mix or something like that. So I'm going to try that. And I forgot to tell you guys yesterday. So we went to cook the brownies that I was making yesterday, and my mom actually was awesome. She came over and she was helping yesterday morning, and so she put them together, and I had started the stove for her, and somebody I thought had turned the stove off because it was back at 100 degrees, and I was like, well, that's dumb. So I turned it off and turned it back on to 350 again, and nothing. So the stove top works and the broiler works, but the oven itself does not heat at all, and you don't even smell gas coming out. So we're gonna have to investigate that and probably get that fixed. So I'm using the countertop oven, so I can't make like a big huge dish of something. I can make these nice cute little dishes of something. So I'm gonna get some stuff out so that you guys can see what it is that I'm putting together, and I will be back with you guys in just a few minutes. Okay, so got all the ingredients put together, so we're going to go ahead and get this set up. So basically what you do is you take your muffin mix and you put it in here, and I actually mix some poppy seeds in with it because my boys really like that in their scone, so that's what I'm going to do. The first thing that you're supposed to do when you make a bread or a scone type mix is that you're supposed to like cup butter into it. obviously that's not what we're gonna be doing here. And then the next thing you need to do is have eggs and milk. Again, we're not gonna do that either. So I'm gonna bring the camera down so you guys can see what I'm going to put in here, and then we will talk about it some more. It works out really, really well. It ends up very, very good. Okay, so here is our mix. And basically what we're going to do is take a can of beans and pour some of the liquid in and mix that with a fork until we get the consistency of crumbles like you would have if you were putting butter in it. So this doesn't take very long to do. You don't want to put so much liquid in it that it starts becoming the dough. You just want it to be to the point where it's crumbly like you would if you had butter in it. So I know the point of the butter is to make the fat in here, and this definitely does not have fat in it. However, this seems to work out really well. So why this works, I don't know, but it does. Okay, so that's pretty good. We've got a decent amount of crumbling going on in here. The next thing that you do is, actually this would be the first thing that you needed to do, but you need to mix together whatever you're going to use as your egg source. And normally I would say just to make flax eggs because that's super, super easy. So just do that if that's what you can have. Or a chia seed egg if you can have chia seeds and not flax, whatever, that's totally fine. We use, with the boys, this chickpea flour. I actually will mix 2 tablespoons of this with 1/4 cup of water and use that for an egg replacement, and that actually works really, really, really well. The other thing that I actually use this when I make pumpkin pie, and I make like 4 eggs with this. It works out perfectly in pumpkin pie. You can't taste it at all, and the consistency is awesome. So that's what I do with that. You also need 1/3 cup of milk, so I'm using some unsweetened soy beverage. This has been sitting for a little bit, so it's had a chance to thicken just a little bit with the flour in it. So I'm going to pour that in. And there's always some residual left in the bottom of the chickpea flour, but I don't ever worry about that. So we're just going to mix that up. If it is still not, if it's a little bit too dry, I'll just end up adding a little splash more milk, but this looks like it's gonna be fine. All right. So basically you want this to be a dough that's going to be, oh, I've got some flour in the bottom still. Hang on just a second. You want this to be the consistency where you can just kind of toss it out onto a baking sheet and it will hold its shape, which this will do, this will do really nicely. So I'm going to put this on my cookie sheet. I'm going to bake this at 400 degrees. I believe it's for 20 minutes. Let me look real quick. 400 degrees for, oh, it says 12 to 15 minutes. I think it usually ends up being 20 minutes, to be honest with you. So that is going to be boy scone. And then I measured out exactly when serving, which is 38 grams. And what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to bake it in this. Only thing I'm going to mix into it is Diet 7-Up. So there's nothing in the Diet 7-Up calorie-wise, so you don't have to count that as any points because it's just a diet soda. And so I'm just going to mix in a small amount of the 7-Up until it becomes the consistency of like what the other goo is. I know when you make a cake mix, you're supposed to use, like, I think it said 10 ounces of soda. I don't know. I've never done this before, to be honest with you, but I know it's something that people really and truly do. Like, it's super popular to do. So okay, so this is pretty thin. I maybe needed a little bit less. So actually that's coming together nicely. Now that it's been stirring, that's pretty good consistency right there. So I'm going to put that in there in the oven. And as you can hear, I've got sick boys. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to put this in the oven. I'm going to put the boys mixture in the oven and make some scones. And I will talk to you guys in just a little bit after they're cooked and you can see what they look like, and maybe I'll let the boys do a taste test for you. So we'll see you guys in just a little bit. Okay guys, so the scone that I'm making for the boys is almost done. And it's gonna look just like a scone. It looks wonderful actually. It's spread out more than I'm used to, which is totally fine. That's not a problem at all. Mine, I was trying to get it out of the container, it was breaking and stuff. However, I did try a bite of this. It's very much the consistency of a gluten-free anything, like it's kind of spongy-ish. However, flavor-wise, this is really good. So I am definitely going to munch on this with supper with some soup. And the scone is almost done. It looks like the thumbnail, but I will show it to you in just a couple of minutes when it gets done. Maybe I'll grab it and show it to you right now. Hang on just a second. Okay, guys, that is what that looks like. It's almost done. The inside middle part was just a tiny bit soft still, so I was gonna put in for just a couple more minutes. But anyway, that is what that looks like, and it tastes really good. Oh, excuse me. It tastes really good, and my kids really like this, so I'm going to put it back in for probably another 2-3 minutes, and then it's gonna be done. I would have them try it for you, but all 3 of my boys are coughing and sick, and 2 of them have a fever, and they don't really feel all that well. I have no doubts that they will eat this and eat this just fine, because my kids are good eaters. But yeah, that's it for me for today though, guys. So I'm going to go have a bowl of soup, and I will have probably hit maybe around, it'll be under 15 points for the day, but that's just fine. So it sounds good. So anyway, I will talk to you guys again soon. I hope you're having a good one.